This is Karim, and here is Mr. Henrique Bastos. Hello. How are you? Which I'm very happy to interview today. So Henrique is very young. He's 16 years old, but there's a lot going on in his life, and he's going to tell us all about it now. So Henrique, nice to talk to you today, and thanks for having a chat with me. Tell me a bit about your background, yourself, you know, your ethnicity, I guess, where your parents are from.
So I'm Brazilian. I lived there for 9 years. I came to Hong Kong about 7 years ago, and I started doing maths in Hong Kong. I was never interested in maths. I was never interested in academics. I was more a laid-back person. And then what happened was in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I broke my leg and I had to stay in the hospital for quite a long time.
Oh no!
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, and you get really mentally bored because you can't move around, you can't do anything. Netflix starts to run out, and you're in a state where you really don't know what to do. And that's where I picked up maths. I was bottom set in my school, so like the worst set, one of the worst people in math. And I just picked up a book and some of the exercises, and I started doing it in really basic level, just fractions and similar triangles, that stuff. And I got it from there. It was like a spark because it kept me mentally active, and it was something to pass the time. And as you go forward, as you progress, it's really something quite beautiful. It's not tangible, it's abstract, and it really lets you think about it, because something really simple can have beautiful connections to like 7 other levels or areas of math, and you just keep on going. There's no end to math, and that was something really nice for me, because if you want to stay mentally active, you gotta really spread out and find connections, and that was nice.
Okay, well, I just asked you where you were from, and we got on to mathematics.
Oh yeah, I know. I thought you wanted to give like a whole life story.
No, that's okay. Yeah. Went off on a tangent right away. So you're 16 years old. You go to which school? Kellett School. How are you finding your experience at Kellett?
Oh, it's a really nice school. The teachers support you, and most of the students are nice about if you really want to focus on academics. And I generally enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay, good. So just to be clear, we haven't yet got to the point of how far you've gone in mathematics, but you're, from my understanding, at a point which is quite high above the curriculum that you're currently studying. So how is your school catering to that?
At first there was a lot of confusion, because they would not expect me to be someone that does like advanced math. But after we settled this confusion, my teacher was really supportive, and he talked to all the head people, everyone he needed to talk about. And they tried to give me as much support as they could, because they still had other students, they still had other classes. And they let me take the GCSE earlier, 2 years earlier, and the further math one.
How did you do with your GCSEs?
It was good. Double nines. Yeah.
Okay, good. So perfect score, right? Well done.
Yeah.
Very good. 2 years early, perfect score in GCSEs. Excellent.
And very good. Yeah. Also in the further math, but COVID kind of hit that, and it had to be teacher assessed grades, so the grades I got from the mocks.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So one more thing that we could talk about then is your exploration in mathematics itself. And so what I'd like you to tell us about is so from my understanding is you're self-studied, which means that everything you've learned is self-studied. You went to pick out the books yourself at the library. Sometimes you told me that you like to buy the books if you can. So what kind of books are we talking about here?
So I started out as really basic. Everyone always told me that you had to learn calculus before you did anything else. So I started Essential Calculus by James Stewart.
So you've taught yourself calculus?
Yeah. Just
all of it?
The 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So what does calculus involve to you? What does it mean?
So if you want to go in an applied sense, then you can talk about all the mechanics of like mechanics and moving particles and all. But I always liked it at the pure level, where you can always go back to like limit definitions and epsilon delta definitions. I always like that part because it's really abstract, and with that you can build everything from it. everything of calculus.
Mm-hmm.
You build derivatives, and then with that you can build different types of integration, like Leibniz, Riemann, and all that. And
do you mean
quite
Leibniz?
nice.
Leibniz.
Yeah,
Did you say
I don't know how to
Leibniz?
pronounce it.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's a German mathematician. It's okay.
yeah.
It's fine. But so essentially, would you say that calculus is all about integration and differentiation, areas under curves? And for those who don't know what calculus is, how would you explain it?
I would say it's a lot more than that. I think someone described it as like the study of the infinitesimal. Everything that you can bring down to an infinitesimal amount could be as a part of calculus.
Okay.
It's like differentiation would be because you're taking a limit, something approaches zero. Integration as well, because if you think about area under the curve, you're always thinking about smaller rectangles.
Mm-hmm.
But it could go a lot deeper than that. Yeah.
That's very insightful from you. Like most people would think about it just being areas and tangents to curve, but you're just saying that for you, the idea of bringing it to a tiny, tiny speck is the most important. And it's true. The definition of a limit is that you approach as close to zero as you can. And so you're saying smaller than epsilon earlier. That's exactly what the definition of a limit is. Very good. Okay. So what other books did you pick up?
This was the first one, and then later on,
there's a pile of books, by the way.
There is a pile of books.
There is a pile. Okay, show me the next one.
Next one was linear algebra and differential equation. Differential equation was a nice, next step from this book because it covers 1 to 3, calculus 1 to 3, but differential equations can go a lot deeper with partial differentials and just really hard ordinary differentials. And systems of differential equations as well. Those are the good stuff.
So those are blending different skills that we might have in algebra and mathematics, as well as differentiation, right?
Yeah, it's how you start with one thing and diverge to all the other topics.
So this is typically taught in the second year of university, differential equations, just so you know, in a maths degree, in a typical maths degree, that'll be taught in the second year. So how did you find it?
It was good. This book is amazing. It explained really well, and I got a lot from it.
Okay.
It was nice to pass the time. I read this book in, I think, the school trip. So that was a lot of.
This is what you did on your school trip.
But that was what I did on the school trip, because like there were long bus rides, and all your friends are sleeping. And
sure. Well, I mean, if you couldn't get any rest, I guess. So maybe I'm not going to go through all the books and all their contents, but what other books do you have there? And can you give me like maybe a brief line to explain what each is about? Say this is about this. And
all right. So real analysis.
Real analysis.
This is a really nice hardcover book, but
also taught as part of linear algebra, I guess. Maybe second year university. Go on.
Right. Yeah, so this one would be like more abstract calculus. This one you go down to definitions of sets and like actual measure of sets because they're different measures, and then Braille.
So more like group theory, you mean?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Next one. This one was from the library. I got to return this.
Linear algebra.
This week, linear algebra again, but this one talks about its applications.
Okay.
I was just curious to know. And then some statistics because of the exam.
Because you have to.
Because I have to, yeah.
You can't just do calculus. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the linear algebra course is something that's taught in the engineering degree. So a bachelor's of engineering probably will do that. We'll do multivariable calculus and linear algebra in their third year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds really.
It's true. I mean, this is what happens, you know. Okay. So, and what else have you self-studied?
This one I forgot about. This one. This one's really nice. Complex analysis.
About complex numbers and polar coordinates and things like that.
Yeah. You start like that, and then you see how much deeper you can get because they're like
roots of numbers and.
The roots of unity, and then Cauchy integration, where you have to do contour integration.
Oh,
that was my favorite part. Contour integration was by far my favorite part.
My favorite one is forgot how to. I call it cyclic integration. Is when you have the integral and then you fall back onto your feet. Like you do an integration by
Yeah.
parts and you fall back on your feet
And then you
after
can
two
join both of
cycles.
them.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that one the best. So okay, what else have you got there?
Then there were some books on just number theory. So, Karim Schwartz. I don't know how to pronounce
Amazing.
names, but
Cauchy, I think he's Swiss. I'm
Cauchy.
not sure.
Yeah,
You have to
somewhere
say
in Europe.
say it the French way. Cauchy.
Yeah, more number theory.
Okay.
And
That has to do with
about it.
Olympiad. So one thing that
Yeah.
people might not know is that you won the British National Olympiads. Which one did you win?
Yeah, British Mathematical Olympiad. Got a gold.
You got gold medal at the British Mathematical Olympiad. Well done for that. Congratulations. I'm sure you've been congratulated a lot. So, okay, so this is just to showcase the fact that you've pushed your study way beyond the kind of, I don't like to use this word, but the requirements of your curriculum.
Yeah.
So you've got a bunch further. What's next for you in terms of studying? Just pick up more books or specifically a certain area that you like?
Oh, yeah, you could say that. I would like to go deeper in all these topics because, for example, differential equations, it goes way deeper than the basics you learn. And you can also get more rigorous and just go back to like the actual abstract definition. Most people don't like that, but I find it quite interesting. But I also want to start, this is why we're here, I also want to start tutoring because I loved all of this and I want other people to as well. And math is about like, if you don't have a good start to it, you may not get it later on.
Okay. So what did you find helped you a lot to have strong fundamentals?
Strong fundamentals really help because like I was in bottom set and sometimes you're taught things in a way that you don't understand and you think that's all right, it's only one topic, but then that accumulates and it spreads to the end exam and you're in trouble. So I always like to go back to fundamentals and I would love to teach fundamentals as well because if you give these kids a good foundation, they can really go far.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting because sometimes I think there's several types of mistakes that people make. People make mistakes based on comprehension, which is, where they just don't understand something. And then what you have to do is you have to explore the topic and make sure the understanding is there, right? But sometimes mistakes are made on calculation.
Yeah.
And then that's just based on
with those.
not being sure whether this whole number and this fraction go together and how they go together, or not being sure about how to multiply a negative fraction with a positive one. And, so these little things. So I guess ironing out the fundamentals saves you from calculation mistakes, because there's nothing worse than really understanding something. So your comprehension is so good, but you mess up based on your calculations, and it's so sad, right?
It
so
doesn't feel nice.
So it's important to do both, I guess, to see what where the errors lie. Okay, so that's nice that you introduced the idea of tutoring. So I run a company called Mathemagic. I'm interviewing you today, and you've decided to do some tutoring. You thought maybe you could be available at the weekends to help out other kids who might need help in mathematics, generally speaking. And so where's this coming from? Because with I guess you're doing well enough in life, it's probably not a financial thing that, it's not financially going to change your life. It will be good for your CV when you apply to, for your personal statement when you apply to universities, because it's related to your passion for mathematics. So I guess I see, there's a good connection there. It's a good thing for you to do. In terms of how it actually helps your development in mathematics, because it's coming at a very much more basic level than the stuff you're studying. So if you could explain that to me perhaps, and say, like, even though you're studying, the Cauchy-Schwarz materials and differential equations, how is teaching fractions or teaching early algebra going to help you?
Well, so it won't help me that much, but it will really help these kids because if I know what's ahead, like really far ahead, like differential equations and linear algebra, all this stuff, I can like kind of accommodate or just design their learning of this really basic things to learn this things later on. So not just for the exam, but to be able to like easily get the material after this. and I think that'll be pretty nice.
Okay, so it's really not for your own benefit. It's more a case of do you want to see your students develop? Is it you want to see certain people do well, or maybe you awaken the desire to self-study in someone like you did for yourself, right? Yeah.
Nice.
I think a lot of people need to understand that tutoring or teaching in general is not something people do for the money, because let me tell you, I've chosen this as a profession. It really is about student development. The reward is 100% student development. 100%. And just to see them do, but I have some kids that I taught 10 years ago. There's one who just became a doctor and he started his first day in his practice. And I still remember when we're like working together every day to get his IB result to a perfect 7 at the time, you know, and and he had to get that to get into medical school, and he was so stressed, but now he's a doctor. You know, so, and he's so happy, and every year he sends me messages and he's so sweet. But yeah, I understand. It's and it will be very rewarding for you. Some things are just about the money, and some things are quite rewarding. And I will say that in terms of rewarding careers, this, you know, whatever you do in academia, along with your tutoring, will have some rewards, because some people, you know, you're helping people's careers. They might not use mathematics like you do. They might just use a small portion. They might like use a small portion to go ahead and do some business, or they might use a small portion to go ahead and be a vet. So, but that's good enough, right? As long as you are helping them at that moment in time. Okay, now I heard also that you do some volunteer work for Mother's Choice, is it? So can you tell me a little bit about that?
So once a week, tomorrow even, I work with the special needs kids. So it comes from Down syndrome, or some have like physical disabilities, and you just get to play with them for a while, and or help feed them, or just help the actual workers there. And they're really sweet. They're really nice. They hug me all the time. And it's what you said. It's really rewarding. You there's no financial in it. You don't get money, but still it's rewarding, because you just see their smiles and their laugh, and they remember you, and they want to come to you. They hold your hand, and that's the reward of it. So you're making a difference, and you can see it
immediately.
Immediately.
That's quite crazy. Where is Mother's Choice, the branch that you go to?
It's Bowen Road.
Okay, so in mid-levels.
Start of Bowen Road. Yeah.
That's sweet. That's nice of you to do that. How long have you been doing that for?
Start of summer.
Okay.
So,
okay. So you're going to keep that going, I imagine.
I will.
Yeah. So it's something that it's probably like a nice moment during your week. I imagine that, you know, how we break the week down, and there's this moment where you go and do your volunteer work with special needs kids. It'll also be interesting in terms of the human mind to see how things are perceived, or in terms of child psychology. That might be quite interesting too.
Yeah, and they're way smarter than what you expect. Like, some of them can't speak, but they can use like their hands to communicate, and sometimes they sing songs with their actions, and you just trying to have to understand, because they know what they're doing, and you have to figure it out, and it's nice.
That's good. That's good. It's really great that you're doing that. Makes me really happy to hear that from you. So it gives me good vibes, as we say. So, all right. Okay. So that's good. And you're a keen sportsman too. I spoke to your dad, and he said, "Oh, sports? Yeah, my son on another level." So I wanted to ask you about. I see this little punching device behind you. What's that?
Oh, that's really like low budget boxing practice.
So you do some boxing?
Yeah, boxing maybe 4 times a week.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Rowing only once a week, because in summer
you do rowing. Okay.
Yeah. In summer they have to like collapse it, and one of our coaches left recently. And apart from that, I do a bit of running as well. Just from like place to place, and running in mid-levels is horrible, because you're always running up, or you're running down.
Uphill.
Yeah. But that's it. Yeah.
So you're a good runner as well.
A bit, yeah.
Decent. So humble with that. Let's see. How fast can you run 1K?
1K. I don't normally do sprints. I normally do like long distances.
5K? What's your 5K
5K
like?
would be maybe 21 minutes, I think.
That's good. That's a
20
that's just above a 4 minute
Yeah.
kilometer, right? Just above that. What about 10K?
10K my
42,
last 10K,
43?
I think about my last 10K was like really uphill. I did it
Oh,
from
that's difficult. Yeah.
yeah, I did it from Cyclone Town to the nearest MTR was 9.6K. But there was a hike in the middle where you had to go up, and then most of it was uphill. I did it in exactly an hour.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So these are the landmarks, right? The 40-minute 10K, the 20-minute 5K, and the 6-minute mile.
Oh yeah,
The 6-minute mile is a good one as well. But if you can get your 5K to 18, or if you can get your 10K to like 39, 38, then you're hitting some really good speeds there. So yeah, this is good. All right. Okay. Amazing. My God. Is there anything else you'd like to tell people about you before we wrap this up? Do you think that's...
I'm really pet friendly. If you have a dog.
You're pet friendly?
Yeah.
So sweet.
I have 2 dogs here.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Polly and Phoebo, like short
Okay.
for Polynomial and
Okay.
Fibonacci.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phoebo. You have a dog called Phoebo.
I have a dog called Phoebo.
This is a true story.
The true story. They're sleeping in the living room. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad they let us have this interview without barking too much. From my point of view, thanks for taking the time. I hope it's recorded properly. It's an absolute pleasure to have someone so enthusiastic and young as and authentic as you. You know, I think it's a breath of fresh air to see people your age doing things like that. And of course, you're going to do great things. We know you're going to go to Cambridge or Oxford. It's quite clear, you know, or Princeton or MIT. But yeah, so thank you so much, Henrique, for doing this. I'll send you the video transcript, of course, so that you can see your performance on stage. And I'll wish you a good... Yeah, if it recorded. Yeah, and I'll wish you a very good afternoon. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Henrique.
Have a nice day.
You too.
See you.
Bye-bye.